How's it going, everybody? Today is the start of the journey for doing all the preventative maintenance, getting us ready to go stage 1, eventually stage 2, and so on. Today what we're going to be accomplishing, and what I'm going to be teaching you, is how to do spark plugs on an Audi S7 or an S6, an A8, an RS6, RS7, anything 4.0T. So I'm going to be honest with you, I've never even worked on a 4.0T before. It's my first time having this platform, engine platform, even having this car. I've never worked on a 4.0 before. I've never done spark plugs on one. So there's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for myself as well, and I hope that I can teach you guys along the way. So as long as you're ready, let's get right into this. Okay, so this is going to truly be a bit complex. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff that's covered up from the factory, just from, you know, the German engineering, right? Because it's so great. They love to just hide everything, essentially. So what's going to need to happen during this process is we're going to need to remove a couple things. First of which, on the passenger side of the engine, we're going to have to remove this entire air intake. Typically, I actually put these on here. Typically, you'd have accordion boots there. We're going to have to remove that entire intake with the box so we can get access to that side with the coil packs and the spark plugs. On this side, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to, now there's two ways to do this. The way that I'm going to choose to do it is the easier method, where we won't have to mess around with emptying the coolant reservoir. What we're going to do is just unbolt it and kind of move it out of the way and try to work with whatever space we have. Not that this is going to be the best method or that it's preferred. It's just I don't want to have to deal with filling up the coolant and making a mess everywhere. So it's going to make things a little more complex, but in the end, it's going to save you more time. Now, what I did get here are NGK. I love NGK. I got their laser iridium spark plugs. I love running NGKs. I was running on the S4 just about every time I changed the spark plugs. To me, they seem to perform better. They last longer, but once you get into the higher performance stages, that's when things can start to get a little iffy, where they don't last as long because you're putting them through much more than they're made to. So let's start with, let's start with this side, just because it's going to be a bit more complex. Now let me get the camera in here to show you guys what we're going to have to undo. So what we're going to start with is removing this reservoir. This is going to require a T25 Torx. Let's see. There we go. T25 Torx. Now, this one's been used, I'd say one too many times. I'm just going to undo this bolt, and we'll put it to the side, make sure we don't lose it. And the next thing is going to be to pop out this line right here, just so we can get it all out of the way. What you might want is either a flathead or a pick. I'd say a pick would definitely work best, but in this instance, I have a flathead right here with me. So we'll go ahead, pop this clip up just like that, and this simply will pop right off, just like that. So we'll move this out of the way. This will start to wiggle up and out, and that's pretty much it. This will give us enough room to be able to just move it however we want. I know it doesn't really seem like a lot, but we could actually finagle it around a little bit. Let me move this temp sensor on the bottom here, just so this doesn't get caught up in anything. Don't want that to break. And the hose connection is on the bottom, so that's really what you're going to be battling as the instance to not remove this whole thing. There's a hose on the bottom, so just like that. Looks like we got it around the ABS pump. We freed up ourselves a little bit more room, which is good. And if you want, you can undo the other side of this line as well. Same thing, just a clip, you pull it up, you'll be good to go. So now the next thing that we really want to get into, I'm just going to kind of put this back in its position because it's not going to help me if I move it forward right now, is we have to undo all of these clips here. I'm going to zoom in just so you guys could see this. So these are essentially, I believe they're sensors, cam position sensors. They help with the cylinder deactivation on the V8s to actually, if you're driving on the highway, it could deactivate 4 of the cylinders and it will run as a 4-cylinder to save you on gas. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to undo all these on the top and the bottom, and these clips, you just want to get them out of the way. So essentially you're just going to be moving everything out of its place just so you could free up some space to work on this here. Like these, I'm just going to pop them right off of the harness, lift them up and out of the way, and we already freed up a decent amount of space, to say the least. So we'll just start doing that. Even on this high pressure fuel pump, this is part of this harness. So this whole harness is going to be taken out of the way and moved just so we have enough room to get to those coil packs there. Now, I always like to say the trickiest thing about the Audis is the stuff that you can't see, that the engineers always hide. So what there is on this wiring harness, the plastic case that holds everything in there, there's 2 hidden screws. One of them is going to be kind of hard to see. You might have to move these out of the way a little bit. I'm not sure if you guys can see in there. Let me zoom this in some more. There's going to be a screw. Kind of see it right there. You can see it shining back right in there. And that's going to be another Torx. There's one on the front and there's one on the back. We're going to have to undo that in order to move this harness out of the way to access these coil packs. So let's unplug all of these along the whole way on all the cylinders, and then we're going to remove those screws and get this out of the way. Okay, so now we're at one big disaster later, where there is way more things that need to be unplugged than I ever could have imagined. This is probably easily one of the hardest installs I think I've done in recent time. Honestly, swapping the engine was easier in the S4. We're disconnecting stuff that routes to these lines for the throttle bodies. There's a line that's buried underneath here for the secondary air injection pump. I'm taking off coolant lines. There is some of these clips that you have to undo them with the gray tab. You got to pull the tab out to be able to unlock the clip and pull it out. And I'm breaking them, honestly, left and right. I probably already broke 2 because they're just in the worst spots. I don't know if we could actually see. I'm going to zoom in here for you, where one of the worst one was that gave me the initial problem. It's going to be actually down here, right there, right where my finger is, that one there. It's up against this actuator, so you can't actually undo it the proper way. It was extremely hard. And I got all my tools. I'm using all my picks and everything. Oh, you actually can't see it. Let's see, there it is. Got all my tools, the picks, everything I need to do it properly, and it's still giving me a hard time. I broke another one down there, but I think I have enough room freed up now that I should be able to move this harness out of the way. And honestly, this is just insane because they did this like the old school Audis where they used to bolt down the coil packs. That's how it is on this one. So after going through all of this, now we have to try to move this out of the way and unbolt each of them, get them out, and then finally we'll get to the spark plug. So, you know, realistically, I just don't know, you know, the level of experience that you should have in order to do this job. Because I consider myself, I don't say I'm a professional by any means, but I'm definitely not an amateur. And this is, you know, proving to really test my skills on a whole nother level. So that one screw that we talked about over here, we got that out. There's another screw that goes right here on this bracket. I'll zoom in for you. This bracket gets bolted into there with this stud looking one. Let me pull it up. This stud looking one. And on top of this stud, there's actually a plastic piece that looks like this. So it goes like this. It sits in there. And this holds in your sensors for your O2 sensors for the clips. And this sits on top of that bracket. So let's see if we can move this stuff out of the way. I'm going to try my best to unbolt these. Just so you know, it was a T30 for this bracket to get that out of the way, and a 10 millimeter for that nut. I'm guessing we're going to be working with T30s in there as well. So let's see how good this goes, and I'll update you as soon as it's out. So I actually got the first screw out of there. It actually wasn't too bad at all. You can see right there. That was not that hard. Now going for the second one right here. Like I said, we're just going to try to move this out of the way. I don't know what's best practice to go over or under. It seems like I have a little bit more room from on top of this. Actually, let me get a swivel. The swivel is going to be way more useful for getting into these tight spots. So let's see what happens once I get that on there. All right, we got the swivel. Let's see if we could do some more damage with this on here. Potentially. I'd say it's still not seating 100% the way I want. Let's see. I'll give it a good crank with all my pressure here. Yep. There we go. And you know what? They're pretty easy. So once you get them undone, I did the last one by hand. This one's pretty easy, so they're not stuck in there, which is good. That's probably because they're aluminum. Well, these are aluminum valve covers, probably aluminum heads. And I believe these bolts are aluminum too, because they don't really rust. Yep, out just like that. Put it to the side. So let's get the rest of these out and we'll pop these coil plugs out. I just want to show you guys real quick. This is the coil pack, and I see now why they are bolted down, because they pretty much just loosely hang in here, unlike the red top coil packs that a lot of people are familiar with that really grip, and sometimes you got to get a screwdriver in there to pry it up. This just kind of loosely sits in there. It's really different style coil pack, and even the spark plugs are very different as well. So let's get the rest of these coil packs out. All right, so we got the rest of them out. Now we got I have a magnetic spark plug socket on the swivel, on the extension. And just putting this back on here. She was getting loose. She's a little rusty in there. Needs to move around a little bit. But it feels pretty good. Like she just come right out. Really wasn't that hard to undo it. I got the rest of the coil packs out. I mean, this is just completely changes my whole mind about doing a spark plug job on a 4.0T realistically, because on a 3.0, I could have the entire job done. I think if somebody really tested me, I could probably have the job done in 10 minutes. This is like probably an hour job, I think. Hopefully over time I get better at it. It'll be faster. I'm really familiarizing myself with this car right now. We'll see what happens when I have to put a million plugs back in, because that'll be a different story, obviously. But, so far so good. Let's see how the first one looks. Not too bad. Not too bad. Really what we're looking for on here, you want it to be we call it paper bag brown. And really what that does is it just shows you that the car is running right where it should be. The whiter it is, the more lean. And the darker it is, the more rich. So this looks like it may be running a little on the lean side. I think these have been running poorly. I feel like it probably has been misfiring. So good thing we're getting these out of there. I don't know when these were put in. And just these spark plugs are weird. The tops, it's not like a traditional top. It's just flat. So once I saw that, I kind of freaked out, because I saw it on the new ones. And I was like, is this even right? So good to know that these are the right ones. So let me get the rest of these out. I'll put the new ones in, put this side back together, and I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, guys, we are back. I'm actually now at a shop right now where one of my friends came by. I had to do a brake job quick. I think I caught up with some stuff, so I only did the 4. Now we're at a shop. We're doing the other 4. This is the passenger side. As you see, we already moved the air box, and I'm sorry, I actually forgot to start recording on the side, but we're doing it now. Just trying to catch you guys up to speed. There's a panel right here. You're going to want to remove this panel, and there's 2 screws that get the air inlet off from the front here. And I believe they were actually T25s. There's 2 of them there, popped out of the way. Your 2 boots, those are, I believe, 7s, and the whole air box comes out as one piece. Now on this side, it's the same deal with the harness, where we got 2 of these T30s on the bottom, and then same thing with all these coil packs. Now where we're at right now is we're down to removing the spark plugs. I already got one out. It's not in bad condition. Oh, grab that here. It's really not in bad condition. You can see we're kind of getting the same consistency from the last one on the other side. This one's more of the paper brown bag that I was talking about. So it's not bad. It seemed to have been running good, but these are also stock spark plugs. So hopefully we could feel a difference. I'm really doing this more for preventative maintenance, like I had mentioned, and also to get better fuel economy. I'm getting pretty bad miles per gallon, so hopefully I can see some sort of improvement with that. But this is definitely a lot more space. There's also a plug right here on this side. This you're going to want to remove, and this is going to give you a lot more space, because you could actually take this whole thing, move this out of the way. You could lift everything out of the way and get everything from the bottom. So that's definitely a pretty good lifesaver tip. So don't be afraid to take stuff off, as long as you remember to put it back on. So let me get this side taken care of, put it back together, and we'll do a short overview. Alrighty, so got everything put back together. This side, 10 out of 10, easier to do than the driver's side. Night and day difference. So we got here is the air inlet scoop. This is just going to slide right back into here. And there's 2 screws in there. One right there. And there's another one right there. Yeah, my tripod died, so my camera skills are not that good while doing this one-handed. Not gonna lie. This goes in there somehow. I can see the bottom. It's hard to see. But kind of just hold it here, get that screw in. The other screw right, where the hell is that screw? It's behind here. Everything's hidden in an Audi. Just another lesson to be learned. And essentially just put everything back on. The cover piece for here, airbox, inlets, and we're good to go. Guys, so to wrap up this project, everything's finally finished being assembled. This has just been really challenging in a variety of ways. So with the driver's side, if you do plan on tackling this yourself, you're going to need a variety of tools. I highly suggest you have a swivel. I don't think you're going to be getting anywhere without a swivel, that's for one. You're going to need long extensions, short extensions. I ran into, on the front side, I believe actually cylinder number 5, which is the first one on the driver's side. I was using shorter extensions. Then on the middle ones, I was using longer extensions. Then on the end one, I was using the short and the long. So you really got to be creative if you do plan on working with this car. I do not suggest this for any amateurs out there. This is I'd say a pretty advanced task to do, and I completely understand why the dealerships are charging such a pretty penny, a high price to do this. I don't even know what this job would cost, but I don't even want to know. I like to do everything myself, and I've learned a great deal of knowledge today by working on this engine, preparing me for what I plan on doing in the future, the PCV, removing the turbo oil screen. So we're really going to find out. Not to say that those things that I did today are going to be involved in those tasks, because it's really a different location. Next time around, I'm going to be removing all the intercooler, throttle bodies, getting down into the valley of the engine for that PCV. So this was pretty much a good exercise, getting the car in good shape, and that's pretty much it. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys ever have any comments, questions, please just comment down below. You can PM me on YouTube, DM me on Instagram at S7_KOTAA. I'm always available for you guys. If I can help you learn something in any way, I'm definitely here for it. And I love to do these projects to show you guys what you can do. You don't have to go to a shop or a dealership to spend all this money. So if I can help save you guys money, I'm definitely here for that. This is S7 Coda, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.